My mom is a single parent, and when I was growing up, she'd sometimes go on dates. You know, try to find me a stepdaddy. There was this one guy, Steve, who was actually pretty cool. He always made a point of taking the whole family out to do stuff instead of leaving my sister and I at home. My mom didn't really like him, and she told him as much, but we still did a bunch of stuff together. He had a boat, we almost died in Mexico, it was great. As you can imagine, Steve and I didn't have much in common, so we pretty much just quoted Seinfeld to each other all the time. I was a weird kid. There's this one episode where every time someone says something about being gay, everyone else goes,
"Not that there's anything wrong with that."
So whenever one of us would say something even remotely related to being gay, Steve and I would go, "Not that there's anything wrong with that." Kind of like a that's what she said joke. After a while, Steve stopped hanging out with us because, well, he wanted to buy the cow, but he wasn't even getting the milk for free, if you know what I mean. And life went on. But a few years later, Steve called up my mom and was like, "Hey, Tim's mom, let's hang out." And the three of us went to dinner. But Steve had changed. When the opportunity arose, I said, "Not that there's anything wrong with that, just like old times." And Steve said, "Nothing." Maybe he didn't hear me. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Steve? And he looked at me like, well, wait, what's wrong with being gay? And he told me that he didn't want anything to do with homosexuals, and if his own son was gay, he would never talk to him again, which is just like... Now, I'm not gay, but gosh darn it, people should be allowed to like whoever they want to, and it's not cool to push your beliefs on others. So I spent the rest of the evening pushing my beliefs onto Steve. We argued the entire drive home, and by the time we went inside, my mom was pretty done with this whole thing. So she initiated Project, convinced Steve that she's a lesbian so that he and I would stop arguing and he would go home and she and I could eat ice cream and get to bed at a reasonable time because we needed to get up early the next morning. .com. So she's all, "What if I'm gay?" And Steve gets all dismissive, like, "You're not though." And my mom's like, "Why do you think Tim's been arguing all night?" Which is, good point, Mom. And Steve gets all worried and looks at me like, "Is she?" Now, I was totally on board with ProjectIceCream.com, but I knew my acting skills weren't quite up to the challenge, so I just kind of avoided the question and looked down. In his mind, I was looking down out of shame or something, but really, I was just trying to keep from laughing. So Steve is entirely convinced that my mom bats for the other team and kind of freaks. He rushes to leave, but on his way out, he asks one more time just to be sure, "You're not though, right?" I never did see Steve again. I still have his chess set though. Steve, if you're watching, it's mine now.